I broke up with my boyfriend and kicked him out of the house this morning.
Okay.
How am I, you ask? Well, about 5 minutes after he doesn't say goodbye to me and pulls out of the driveway, he goes, "Thanks for everything."
I don't want it anymore.
Thanks for everything? Oh.
It's lovely.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
So something that I've kind of been avoiding talking about on here recently is that my 4-year relationship with my boyfriend recently ended.
Oh,
so my
no.
boyfriend and I had dated for 4 years, but he was in my life for a lot longer than 4 years. We were best friends all through college, so we've known each other for, like, he's been in my life for like the past 8 years now. And I don't want to cry because I'm trying to get ready.
You don't have to cry. You don't want to ruin your makeup that you're slapping on right now. So go on, why did you break up after 4 years?
Try to talk about it, but if I start crying, then I'm just gonna stop, because honestly, I think it's important to let yourself cry, but not when you're trying to get ready for the day. It was not a mutual decision to break up. I was the one that decided to ultimately end our relationship, and honestly, I almost wish it was like the other way around, because I don't know, I think that a lot of people don't talk about the struggles of breaking up and like the hardships and what you go through, especially when you're the one that had to break up with your partner.
Okay, so you were the one that initiated the breakup. Strangely enough, you say you wish he broke up with you.
Why?
What, he dumped you? Interesting.
I don't even know how to put it into words. I've learned a lot about myself in the past. We broke up like a little over a month ago, and I've learned a lot about myself in this time. It took a lot of strength for me to be able to walk away from this relationship, because I feel like I'm like mourning the loss of a best friend. He was my best, but a lot of things changed over the course of the past 2 years. Honestly, the past 2 years, it became a very lonely relationship. And we started dating in our early 20s, now we're in our late 20s, and honestly, like, you change a lot. So after college, we started dating. We both ended up moving home. We were going to school in the Boston area, so we were both kind of living in Boston. It was fun, whatever. We moved home. I live about I live in Boston now again, but at the time I was living with my parents, and he moved back where he was from, which is 3.5 hours away from where I live. He lived in Western Mass and I lived by Cape Cod. So right there, it was like definitely not ideal doing long distance.
Okay, long distance. They started dating in their early 20s. So we can say she's about mid-20s now. So did her frontal lobe develop? Or is it because they've left college? But either way, she thought it was a good idea to break up. Frontal lobe, the end of college, distance. What do you think?
However, when we first started dating, his goal was for us to eventually move back to like this area, like the Boston, Cape Cod, whatever, South Shore area of Massachusetts. He lives in Western Mass, like I said. I don't like Western Mass. I'm just like not a Western Mass girly. It's like very like rural area where he lives. He lives in the Berkshires. So it's like mountains, cows, like there's a whole lot of nothing there. And I am like, that's just not my personality at all. Separate my relationship and like my friends, because they...
So it was boring. The scenery sounded boring. You didn't want that. You wanted a bit more fun.
Adrenaline.
A bit more excitement.
Want to have fun.
Okay. Something a bit more flash and not so boring and rural. Okay.
couldn't get along together. And so like the separation of friends and like your significant other, that was huge for me, because honestly, I felt single in the relationship. Like I couldn't go out with him. We couldn't do anything together. We didn't have the same friends. It all had to be separate. And so I felt like it was like, I don't know, it was just very isolating. And yeah, I felt single, I felt lonely, and there's nothing worse than feeling lonely in a relationship. It's kind of like an undescribable feeling. About 2 months ago, I decided to quit my job and move to the city and live by myself, because I've always felt like dependent on other people, even him in our relationship. I've always felt like I needed to rely on him to take care of me one day, and I had to go to wherever he wanted to live because, you know, he had the money, like he's from a wealthy family. Like I'm very much not. I've always been like kind of like money.
Oh, interesting, because what, now you're on your feet, now you don't need him. Interesting, we'll let her finish in a bit.
I would talk to TikTok because I am trying to drive to my mom's right now, so I don't have to sleep in a house alone for the first time in a year. But it seems that I can't make it without wanting to throw up. Please tell me how you can be with someone for a year and they can just leave. Same day notice. No, nothing. No explanation. Nothing. Just leaves. Please tell me how someone can do that and be with you for a year.
I may adjust the speed for copyright reasons, but he left her. He left her. Was she a placeholder? Was she not as good as she probably thought she was? Did he not love her to begin with or not even care about her? But this woman is in absolute tears because she can't be alone.
None of it's real. Like, I'm sorry, I'm distraught. Any tips would be grateful because oh my god, I've never. Anyways,
Wow.
thank you.
I didn't see this part. I didn't know she gagged. Damn.
God, never.
Heartbreak. It's hitting her hard.
For listening. Anyways, thank you for listening.
We've been together for like 8 years, and yeah, the relationship I was in was not the relationship I thought it was. And I had to literally be driven to the point to where I didn't have any choice but to break up with him. I had to be embarrassed in front of my family. I had to be embarrassed in front of my friends. I needed him to do things that I didn't think he was capable of doing. How could you say that you love me more than anybody and anything and then hurt me in the ways that you were willing to hurt me?
That is sad. But I mean, 8 years is a long time. 8 years. I mean, she probably hoped he'd change.
No, I can fix it.
He didn't. So there's only so much you can hope a man will change.
Love me. Pick me.
Eventually, you have to take responsibility yourself and be like, yeah, I probably wasted my time on him instead of he wasted your time. It's a bit of both, to be honest.
So when we broke up, we actually didn't speak at all for the first 3 weeks. I can't even explain how difficult it was. Actually, the day after we broke up, I immediately left New York and went to Florida. I was gone for like 3 weeks because I didn't want to bump into him or anything. I kept checking my phone though. I was like, he's for sure going to message me. But no, it was like completely no speaking at all. Then I got back to New York from Florida. I guess he found out through social media. This was a little too much. He wasn't even looking at my stories anymore, so I wasn't sure how he found out, but I think one of his friends told him. The next day after I arrived, he sent me some packages that I had in his apartment. I was like, oh my God, this is it. So I sent him a message and I was like, hey, thank you so much for sending me the packages.
He's letting you know it's completely over, woman. Here are your packages. Trash already, trash. I don't want your stuff in my house. It's your stuff. We're not together anymore. Therefore, it's trash. That's not what he said, but I mean, it's sort of implying, isn't it? It's probably rubbish now.
And then I was like, do you want to meet up for coffee? I honestly thought we were going to get back together after this coffee date, but we didn't. At the beginning, wanted to get back together, but he just wasn't really into it. I wasn't really messaging him and he would like randomly message me one time every 10 days. Then we slowly started to meet up until I got tired and I was like, what are we doing? Like, if we're not going to be together, what's the point of meeting up? And I definitely did not want to be his friend. This had been going on for like 2.5 months now. So I started being more shortcut with him and wouldn't really meet up with him anymore. And that's when he started getting the picture. And those times that we were meeting up were actually really fun and amazing. It felt really nice and like problem-free to be around him again. So after a bit, we decided to give the relationship another try. I think men just process things differently. At the beginning, I was the one who wanted to get back together, and then I was kind of over it, and then he wanted to get back together, and somehow it just all worked out and it was for the best.
You know, when people go back and forth like this, you wonder, do they really like each other, or are they just wasting each other's time? Or is one person serious and the other one, they don't care? So long as someone's there, that's all that matters.
But it's an illusion.
So was she playing him or was he playing her?
Together, and then I was kind of over it, and then he wanted to get back together, and somehow it just all worked out and it was for the best.
Insecure, except for recently. But so that was like a big barrier for me, and he was not happy about my move to Boston at all. Like, not happy about me quitting my job either. And he says now that he's been supportive, and I'm like, were you though? I feel like I'm kind of like saying negative things right now, but that's not how I, like, he was my best friend. He was like literally my best friend. We would like, he loved roller coasters. We'd go to Six Flags and Universal all the time. Like,
well, come on. Like you did say, he was wealthy. He was from a wealthy family. Oh. So he had the money to treat you and make you feel special, didn't he? But then as soon as you got on your feet, you want to live your big city girl life. You don't need him anymore. I'm just saying it just...
I don't want to talk about the good stuff. It's like, it's easier to remind myself of the bad stuff than the good stuff, because trying to like just like focus on myself and my career. And that's been really hard too. I've had to like kind of take a step back from even like work in my career, because I'm just like trying to figure my mind out. But like, even though like there was, you know, love there, it's like the bigger or the overarching thing, like we didn't want the same things in life. Now he's saying that he would want to move here because he said that he never thought that I'd actually leave. He thought that I was his forever. And so that to me like says too, there was like too much comfort and security in that relationship to the point it's like.
Sort of sounds like he loved you more than you loved him, or he actually cared about you more than you may have even cared about him. I'm just saying, I'm just observation.
But it, like, I don't know, he never thought I was gonna leave. He stopped doing things to surprise me, like for Christmas, for my birthday this year, he got me the UGG, like Tezza slippers, whatever, and he ordered me the wrong size, and I had to send him the link to the shoes, and I said size 9, and then I guess when he clicked on the link, a size 7 popped up, so he sent those to my apartment, and then he blamed me for sending him the wrong link. Never got me flowers, except for like obligated situations like Valentine's Day, obviously, like he had to. I just don't want that in a partner. Like, I want something that like feels.
She wants more. Understandable, she wants more. So that's why she broke up with him, because she wants more. It's kind of a standard and continuous thing. More. Always more.
I feel more, like, you know? And they want to work to like get my attention. They want to work to like surprise me and to fit into my life, and or just naturally fits into my life. I don't even know, but right now, like, I'm just having a relationship with myself, and this is really long, so I don't know if anyone's even gonna listen to this, but that's what's going on in my relationship life.
Yeah, she did waffle quite a lot, didn't she?
I broke up with my ex last year. We had been dating for 3 years. And after I broke up with him, I didn't reach out to him once. Which for me, that was really hard. But this is what I did. Now, this is probably not a healthy way to get over a relationship. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. But it worked for me. So, to each his own. I literally started a note on my phone. I always kept it locked. Never showed it to anybody. But every single time he would say something like really shitty to me. I've talked about this before. He was very emotionally abusive. And it's not like little fights that we would have. It would be like things that would really, really just, they would fucking break me. He would say or he would do. I would put it in the notes. And I would also write down how I felt. And I also wrote down what I would want to say to him, because I was so afraid of like speaking up and actually telling him what I thought. And I just kept that note. I kept adding onto it every single time.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, to keep notes about what he was saying and what he was doing to you. And you didn't tell him anything.
Nope.
Now, yes, he was a bad dude, but I mean, if you ever tried telling him, you know, what he was doing wrong, he could have possibly learned. If he didn't learn, obviously, then obviously, you know, it's a waste of time. But collecting notes is one thing. But at least try to at least say to him, this is where you're going wrong. But I guess she didn't want to try that. She probably couldn't.
Single time. And again, this is not for small little fights like him not picking up his clothes or not washing the dishes. These were things that were like deal breakers, but I just wouldn't realize that I needed to walk away. Any single time that I felt like reaching out to this person after our breakup, I would go back in there and read the notes. Yes, I'm very grateful for all the good times that we had, but it was such a toxic, draining relationship that I needed to hear my own words of how I felt in that moment when he would hurt me. So if you are about to break up with somebody, or you already know that you need to get out of this relationship, just start a note.
Understandable, because some men collect, you know, recordings, voice notes and videos. If their woman's going a bit crazy and they have to make sure they collect evidence.
She's crazy.
So yeah, collect evidence if you need to.
And there's nothing better than just going back and reading your own words, your own feelings, your own thoughts, and literally convincing yourself to finally walk away and not look back. And it has been the best thing I've ever done.
In understanding why some women break up with men, maybe some men could understand what they could do better in their next relationships to make sure they don't do it again. But I guess some people, they don't give an F. It's just another person. Have a nice day.
Wanna have fun?